million. Decrease in debt service, $53,000. Increase in other funding sources, $46.8 million. Increase in beginning balance brought forward, $60.5 million. Additional taxes from new construction at rollback rate, CRA rollback adjustment, and tax loss from revaluations by the Value Adjustment Board, $18 million, for a total of $106,819,959. The county library, increases in library operations net of revenues, $3.7 million. Decrease in reserves, $296,000. Increase for transfer to library improvement / expansion fund, $11.5 million. Increase in the beginning balance brought forward, $6.9 million. Additional taxes from new construction at rollback rate and tax loss from revaluations by the Value Adjustment Board, $1 million, for a total increase of $6,947,307. Fire rescue MSTU, increase in fire rescue operations net of revenues, $52.7 million. Increase for transfer to capital projects fund, $23 million. Increase in reserves, $12.7 million. Increase in beginning balance brought forward, $50.2 million. Additional taxes from new construction at rollback rate, CRA rollback adjustment, and tax loss from revaluations by the Value Adjustment Board, $4.7 million, for a total increase of $33,487,361. Jupiter Fire MSTU, increase in fire rescue operations net of revenues, $103,000. Additional taxes from new construction at rollback rate and tax loss from revaluations by the Value Adjustment Board, $143,000, for a decrease of $39,730. On pages 6 and 7, which contains the budget briefing and highlights that includes proposed transfers and amendments to the fiscal year 2025 tentative budget. Page 8 also reflects and contains really a summary of the proposed transfers and amendments. The transfers and amendments do not result in property tax increases.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Baker. Now, the next order of business is to accept public comments on the total county-wide funds budget, dependent district budgets, and proposed budget amendments. We're going to move now to public comments. Commissioner Weiss, you'll read the cards, and Vice Mayor Marino will operate the technology, advanced technology. Very good. Okay, Commissioner Weiss.
All right. We'll start with Anne Marie Gallagher Ashby, followed by Eva Asner Marachez, followed by Will Romulus and Grassford Smith.
Very good. As you hear your name, come forward and identify yourself. Okay?
I'm sorry, I didn't
That's
know I
take your
was
time.
speaking so soon.
That's okay.
Okay.
Got plenty of
Hi.
time. Good morning. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
my name is Ann Ashby, Anne Marie Gallagher Ashby.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I live in West Palm Beach. I am a former preschool, kindergarten, and after-school teacher, and well, at any rate, I'm originally from New Jersey, and now we're here in Florida. It seems to be everybody here that I speak to. From a town, I'm from a town where the library was originally located on the back end of 3 floors, where small space was provided in Town Hall and eventually allotted and relocated adjacent to the middle school to a 2-acre campus. All right, now our town quickly learned the value of an expanded full-service community library, fully equipped to the dedication of the children of the community with a strong emphasis on an after-school homework program. And I have witnessed firsthand the use of a library as a quasi-community outreach center. Well, when these children aged 3 through 17 eventually became adults, they not only held fond memories of their local library, they also worked at ensuring its continuance. So within the next 5 years, there will be groups calling for a decrease in funding with an eye toward eventual dissolution. I mean, if libraries are kept predominantly information centers, this will eventually occur. And adult outreach programs, all right, however, present bent on children will ensure future strength and funding. So when we have so when we think about libraries and what we're doing in the future, all right, I think right now, as soon as possible, or if not, within a reasonable amount of time, perhaps increase our libraries to help children. An after-school program, educational program, and homework program would be a good idea.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate your opinion.
Eva?
Good afternoon.
Good
Eva
evening.
Asner, Ocean Ridge, 13 Hudson Avenue. I have a question and actually interested to hear about the rollback mill rates. Do they ever happen? What would need to happen for this to occur? So that's my first question. The second comment I wanted to make is that I used to live in towns and areas where the government actually found some very interesting ways to support their budget without constantly increasing the taxes, property taxes. So I was just wondering if there is a way to perhaps find different ways. That's the second question. And comment on my little small town where the mill rates increased, where around our town there are others where they actually were able to roll back the mill rate. So hence, is it possible? Yes, it is. How do we make it happen? Just leaving you with that question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Will Romulus?
All right. Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners, Mayor Sachs. I'm basically here to thank each one of you guys for the Let's Move 365 that's being approved in the budget. Wanted to personally thank you, Commissioner McBernard, for championing this initiative and making sure that everybody's on board with that. This initiative is very crucial. Getting our residents, getting our kids, everyone at our age to be physically active is very, very crucial. And it speaks loud that it starts with you guys, in that sense. So you guys set the bar really high, and the goal is to get our residents to be up and moving, get them off the couch, and so on and so forth. So the Let's Move 365. It's a really, really cool initiative. What it is basically getting our residents to do any type of physical activities and take control of their health. So I wanted to, come here and personally thank each one of you guys. So we can't wait to kick this campaign off, and it's gonna be year round. So we're super excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that.
Grassford Smith. Mr. Smith, are you here?
Any other cards?
That's the only card we have. I heard a door open. Is anybody coming in? Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other cards, Commissioner?
No, ma'am.
Very good. I'm going to return to the board now for discussion on countywide funds and the proposed countywide millage rate. So I look to my colleagues if anybody has any comments. Vice Mayor Marino.
Need a microphone. The only thing I want to actually say or comment is that the Legislative Budget Commission on Friday, they adopted their long-range outlook for state finances, and it's not all that pretty. So I just want to make sure that our county is prepared in the future. I know we talk about cutting the millage rate. A question was asked about the rollback rate. We can't do anything about the city's millage rates. That, you go and talk to the city government about that. But I think the county staying at the 4.5, and if we can base our budget outlook for the next several years on something very close to 4.5, it helps businesses and residents do their own budgeting. They'll know what to expect. As for the taxes going up, again, Dorothy, sorry, I'm going to say this, you hate when I say this, but the millage rate is not going up. If the value of your home goes up a little bit, then what you may pay in taxes will go up, but it's not because the millage rate went up, it's because the value of your home went up. And then the response to that is, well, if you're collecting more revenue, ad valorem revenue, then that should be able to offset your budget. However, when you consider that increases in our budget are more than 3%, which is what the max is on a homesteaded property, you know, some of the things that we have to pay are up 6%, are up 10%, are up 50%. So we are doing the best we can with the budget we have. I would say to the board, I think 4.5 for this coming year is good. I'd like to see maybe us think about having a, 3-5 year solution, because in 2 years we're looking like our state budget is going to be a deficit budget and not where it is today with a surplus. So that was actually more of a comment than anything else, but I just wanted to share. Thank you.
We're open to comments. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I tend to have another outlook on this. Prices have gone up for us as a county, very clearly, but also for our residents who prices have gone up at the gas pump, they've gone up at the grocery store, they have gone up for homeowners insurance, they have gone up everywhere. So every little bit, I think, seems to help. So I don't think we should make any drastic changes to the millage, but even if we could give a half, whether we end up at 4.45, something that shows, we've had property increases, we're gonna get over 200 million from the tax collector who, through great investments, was able to, not the tax collector, excuse me, the clerk of the courts was able to get us over 200 million. I think we should give our residents whatever breaks we can, and maybe if there's some areas where we can cut back, that might be a possibility, but we really should be taking consideration that there are people who need some relief.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Baxter. Any other commissioners? Okay. I just want to say on a comment that the cost of living has gone up. It's gone up all over the country, and it's certainly gone up here in Palm Beach County. There's some things the county government has control of. One thing we don't have control on is property insurance or any type of insurance. We also don't have control over a lot of areas that is set by state or federal legislation. What we have done in this budget proposal is to keep the millage rate constant. I don't think there's any family here in Palm Beach County that can say the same as to being constant with their cost of living. Everything's gone up. So we will try our best as stewards of the taxpayers' money to be sure that we provide services that are under our authority, services, but to keep the cost of all of that with a millage rate that stays the same. So I look forward to managing this budget and making sure our services are never cut and that they remain the same, even though the cost of providing services has gone up, but that our millage rate stays the same. So, with that, Commissioner Baxter, would you like to comment? Go right ahead.
I just wanted to kind of point out that even if we keep our millage rate the same, their costs are still going up because all property values, market values, they have also gone up. So just because we're keeping the millage rate the same, they're still paying more in taxes, is I guess what I was gonna kind of point out.
As a wise man said, When my income taxes go up, it means I'm making more money. I don't have control over property values. That's part of living in this beautiful paradise of Palm Beach. We do have control over the millage. It's staying the same. It is not going up. And property values are going up. Everything's going up. It shows that the values of our property here is consistent with the services that your government gives. So I'm very pleased with that. And I hope one day, Commissioner Baxter, that we can look around and the cost of living has gone down and the cost of providing services to our people has gone down, and we will definitely lower it. Right now, I'm really proud that it's staying the same as it was the year before. Are there any other comments by members of the board? Very good. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve certain budget transfers and amendments. Yes, sir. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
I'd like to make a motion to approve certain budget transfers and amendments for those countywide funds as more specifically set forth on pages 9 through 14 of the September 10th, 2024 public hearing budget document. Such transfers and amendments totaling $118,101,547.
Second.
You got that. Very good. All those for? Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. I'd like to also entertain a motion to adopt Palm Beach County's countywide tentative millage of 4.5000. Okay, Commissioner Barnett, do I have a second?
Can I
You
ask
need us
to
to
Madam
read
Mayor,
that into the
full-
record?
He's got to read it in full.
Yeah.
Can you read it into the record?
If I may, Mayor?
You go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Palm Beach County countywide tentative millage of 4.5000, which is 8.07% over the rolled back rate of 4.1641 and the countywide voted debt millage rate of 0.0396.
Very good. And I have a second on that. I have a second? I'm looking at the clerk. Yes?
May we please have the second stated for the record?
Okay. Do I have a second? As Vice Mayor Marino is the second. All those for, anybody opposed?
I'm opposed.
See that it passes 6-0.
6-1.
6-1. I never was good in arithmetic. All right, now let's go on. If I could have a motion to adopt Palm Beach County's tentative budgets.
I'll make the motion. Motion to adopt Palm Beach County countywide tentative budgets of $7,642,000.
billion.
$7,642,267,156.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Weiss. All those for. Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now let's return to the board for discussion on the library district. Can I have a motion to adopt Palm Beach County's library district tentative millage? And
Mayor, I'll make the motion to adopt Palm Beach County Library District tentative millage of 0.5491, which is 8.15% over the rollback rate of 0.5077, and the Palm Beach County Library District voted debt millage rate of 0.0098.
very good, and I have a second from,
I'll second it.
okay, from Commissioner Weiss. All those for. Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. A motion to adopt Palm Beach County's library district tentative budget.
Mayor, I'll continue with that. Motion to adopt Palm Beach County Library District tentative budgets of $900,579.
It's impressive, isn't it, these numbers? And I have a second, Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now I'd like to return to the board for discussion on the Municipal Service Taxing District, the MSTD. Is there any commissioners who wish to give a comment or question this? All right, very good. I'd like to have a motion then to adopt Palm Beach County's tentative budget.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt Palm Beach County MSTD tentative budget of $159,843,953.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. And I have a second by Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now I'd like to return to the board for discussion on the fire rescue MSTU. Are there any comments? Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue MSTU tentative millage of 3.4581, which is 8.11% over the rolled back rate of 3.1986.
Very good. Do I have a second?
I'll
By
second.
Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0.
I'll continue on, Mayor, and make a motion to adopt the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue MSTU tentative budget of $971,927,834.
Very good, Commissioner Weiss. Commissioner Baxter seconds that.
Second.
All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. I'm going to return now to the board for discussion on the Jupiter Fire MSTU. Any comments by the board? Okay, is there anybody who wishes to adopt that motion?
Mayor, I'll make the motion to adopt Palm Beach County Jupiter Fire MSTU tentative millage of 1.6488, which is 0.14% below the rollback rate of 1.6511.
Very good, and I have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0.
Madam Mayor, I'll continue. I'll make the motion to adopt Palm Beach County Fire Rescue MSTU tentative budget of $28,292,125.
And I have a second by Vice Mayor Marino. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now I'd like to return to the board for discussion on the MSTU Unincorporated Improvement Fund. Any comments or questions by the members of the board? Seeing none, do I have anybody to make a motion on this issue?
Sure, I will make a motion to adopt Palm Beach County MSTU unincorporated improvement fund budget of $16,717,640.
Very good, and I have a second from Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now I'd like to look at the adoption of the tentative aggregate millage rate. Any questions or comments by the board? All right, I'm ready to entertain a motion. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Palm Beach County tentative aggregate millage of 6.2826, which is 6.34% over the rolled back rate of 5.9083.
Very good. And I have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. And there's one more motion, which is the best motion of all for today. Guess what that is? The
Motion to adjourn.
second, right? I have two motions, three motions to adjourn, and I have seconds by everybody. It is unanimous on the motion to adjourn. Thank you very much to staff that's worked so hard, those in the public who are here and participate. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, board, for your support.
Welcome to Inside PBC, where we highlight what's going on inside Palm Beach County. Celebrate the Library Card Sign-Up Month with the Palm Beach County Library System and the American Library Association.